After living in the continental United States for 50 years, you're moving to a Caribbean island. How does that feel?
Pooping my pants. I gotta learn Spanish. Hey, not just Spanish, but Puerto Rican Spanish.
Puerto Rican Spanish, a whole different
Wish me
world.
luck.
I think you'll be fine. Folks, comment below. Does he look like he's going to be fine? I think so. Hi everyone, I'm Iramis.
I'm Gerry.
And welcome to Puerto Rico
Life.
He still can't roll his R's. So if you're new around here, we are a married couple and we live in New England and we are planning on making our big move to
Puerto Rico.
Woohoo! Now, here on this channel, that's all we're going to be talking about. So we're going to be doing series once a week talking about Puerto Rico life. And in between that, we're of course going to have our travel channels because we do travel a lot around the world. And that's one of the reasons that we decided that Puerto Rico was going to be where we wanted to spend the next phase of our life. If you're interested in that, then, hit the like button and also subscribe because we're going to be doing this for the next year, at least once a week. And we're going to take it on the road because we're going to be going to Puerto Rico either 2 times a month, 1 time a month, but whatever it is, it's going to be documenting the renovation of our Puerto Rico house. And we have been planning this for 10 years. So I think that's one of the more important things to note here. And a lot of people say, we're going to move to Mexico. We're going to move to Southeast Asia. We're going to move to the Philippines. They say all that things, but they don't tell you that they spent 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 years really planning their entire life change. Well, we're here to tell you that that's what we're doing. And we're going to show you by example. And we're also going to show you all the mistakes that we're making. So this is our first episode in our series called Puerto Rico Life. So come watch us as you experience what happens when you buy a complete money pit.
Money pit, yeah.
Okay, a sugar show. And you renovate it while living in a different state. And really try to maneuver a new place with the fact that, like Gerry said, English is not their first language.
It's not our first rodeo in Puerto Rico. We had a house for 2 years during the COVID, and it was great. We lived half of the year down there and the other half in New England. And so we understand what it is to live down there.
The thing is we also have family down there. So we have family on the Caribbean side of the island, and we have family on the Atlantic side of the island. So throughout the island, we have a network, we have support, and we know people.
Which is going to be huge.
Yep.
Because like when you first moved there, I'd be terrified because I don't speak Spanish that well, and I wouldn't be able to communicate with my neighbors like right off the bat.
Yep.
But luckily, I know enough lingo to get through, and I have my in-laws that I can fall back on if need be.
Absolutely. I want to emphasize that Gerry plans to learn Spanish.
Yep.
So, and I am from Puerto Rico. I love my island. I think it's the most beautiful place that there is. And Gerry and I have visited 53 countries. And we just love Puerto Rico. We love the people, the culture. But what makes the culture in Puerto Rico is that we talk to each other in our own lingo, very quick, very happy, very welcoming. So if you're going to come to Puerto Rico,
You should learn the language.
Learn Spanish.
Puerto Rican Spanish would be ideal. I'm learning Spain Spanish, but that's just how it works.
But Spanish is Spanish. When we do talk, the Puerto Ricans, when we do talk in a professional way and with doing business, we talk regular Spanish. It's just the rest of the time that it's just a complete, just jumbled up Spanglish, English, just really interesting words.
Yes.
So please don't come to the island expecting that everyone will know English. Do you and do the rest of us a favor. Learn Spanish. The other thing that I want to say about making a move to any place around the world that is not where you were born and raised is that it's going to take time. You're not going to do this overnight. You're not going to go there on vacation and say, I'm going to move there in a month. That's not how to do this. That's not how to really do this process. And I'm only using this example for Puerto Rico, which is still part of the United States. It might be easy here because we drive on the same side of the road. You can use your license. The signs are mostly in Spanish and a lot of them in English. And the money is the same. All of that stuff. You get Costco, you get Walmart, you get all that basic stuff. But it's still not the United States. I can't emphasize that anymore. So if you come here, if you come from the United States and go to Puerto Rico and expect things to be exactly the same, you're going to have a rude awakening.
Very.
Is island time a thing or what?
It's totally a thing. Because living in Boston, it's like very similar to New York. You need it yesterday. But when fast food down in Puerto Rico is not fast food. No. It's slow food. Just expect it.
Don't even bother going to the drive-thru.
You
just raise gasoline.
You can go through, but you're just gonna park, and they're gonna come give you the food later. So.
But those things are important. So whenever you make a move, whether it's state to state, country to a different country, country to an island, island to an island, you are going to experience a complete cultural change. And you have to be ready to embrace it. And I think that Gerry and I can tell you over and over again, you have to do this for yourself. You have to experience it. Is if you want to move somewhere, go visit it. Start years in advance. Don't do this thing that like I said before, you're just going to move there in a month and everything's going to work out. It's not. The other thing that you're going to need is you're going to need money. Yes, some of these countries cost less, but you still have to get something. You have to get an apartment. You have to figure out if you're going to work remotely. You have to figure out all that stuff. You have to get banking. You have to do all those things that are hard to do when you're not living there. So you have to do some research. And the money part is going to be important because if you want to buy a house, if you want to really understand where you want to live, that's a big decision that you have to make. That could be your house forever. That could be your second or third or fourth house, but it could be your final house. So the question is, are you ready to move to a place that you've only visited once?
Yeah, and don't just go for 2 weeks. Don't go, try to go basically all 4 seasons if you can. Because it's different depending on where you are. And try to go longer than 2 weeks. Try to do at least a month if you can, because then you can basically learn how everything works in your neighborhood.
And I think one of the things that we learn, learn from our mistakes, folks. We picked our house and we loved our first house. The house. And beautiful view. But what happened when COVID was over and there was traffic?
It was horrendous because there was only one way into the neighborhood, and it was the main highway.
Yeah.
And it was basically like Boston traffic all over again. I was trying to get away from it, but it just came to me.
Absolutely.
What used to be a 15-minute drive turned into almost an hour drive.
Yep.
It was horrendous.
It was crazy. We moved there because we were really close to the air. We were going to be closer to the airport, and it was going to be a quick 30 minutes in and out. No, the airport ride, unless it was at midnight, our airport rides were over an hour. Yeah. And you can imagine if you're really excited about living on this island or wherever it is, and you want people to visit you. Well, every single time these poor people would visit you, it's 1 hour to pick them up, 1 hour to come back, and vice versa at the end of the trip. It's tough, right? Right there, you're making really 4 trips because you got to pick them up and you bring them back, and then you got to drive them back and you got to come home. That's a lot. It seems like a silly thing, but when you're doing this a couple times a month, it's going to get pretty old really quickly. The moral of the story is learn from us. Visit more. Visit when it's low season. Visit when it's high season. Visit, like Gerry said, all of
All
the
four
weather
seasons.
seasons and understand if that area is where you truly want to be. If it's not, then shift to another area and go experience it again. And I know at the beginning we said that it took us 10 years. It did take us 10 years. It took us 10 years because we visited X amount of states, we visited X amount of islands. But on top of that, we were saving money because when you go down there, you want to be able to feel comfortable that you're going to purchase something that is going to be in your budget. Because it would be terrible for you to go and get another second or third mortgage to use on a house that you might not even be living in for 5, 6, 7, 10 years. And I know a lot of people talk about doing Airbnb. Well, I got to tell you, Airbnb, when you live on the mainland and you're doing Airbnb on a Caribbean island or any other place that's not in your state, it's complicated. You have to worry about, is the electricity going to be turned on? Is the people going to leave the water running? Are they going to flood the bedroom because they left the AC on too long? Yes, that happens.
I know what you're talking about.
Are they going to be, so many people in the pool or the pool overflows? And that's a problem because water's expensive, right? So think about all these little things that could happen and you're not going to be there. So you're going to have to be paying other people. So there goes some of your profit, but you're going to have to be paying other people to take care of this home that you just spent, 6, 8, 10 years dreaming for that you can't use and somebody else is using. So really start to think about where you want to be now, because it could take you a long time to do these things. And if you're watching this, you're probably interested in going to Puerto Rico. Well, it took us almost 2.5 years to buy our first home.
Yeah.
And then we lived in it for 2 years and we sold it. And then it took us another year to buy our second home.
To find and buy. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Buying was much easier the second time around.
Yeah. And then what are we into now? We're into year 1.5.
Yes.
Of getting a permit to renovate the house.
Island time is real.
We can't emphasize how real it is. So yeah, I want to reiterate that the permitting, design, and just the talking about the house did take about 18 months. And we're almost at the finish line of the permit. Let's not get excited here, right? And that's where we're going to leave you here. So on our next episode, we're going to be talking about how do we find the architect and the builder, and how many meetings we had to have with these people on the phone, on calls, on WhatsApp, to really even get their attention to know that we were serious about renovating a complete
dump.
There is no other word to say this. So if you want to see the dump, I'm going to link the video up above. I think it's like here, or maybe it's here. But we're going to link the dump there. We encourage you to see what it is that we bought and the level of renovation that it's going to take for us to make this thing livable. Know that we're still like a year away. Come stick around. We'll make you laugh a little bit, learn from our mistakes, and hopefully we can teach you something. If you have any ideas of what we should do to the house after you watch the video, comment below, because we want to just hear all the crazy ideas you come up with. Anything, it doesn't matter. It's still in permitting. It'll probably still take another month, so we can probably change. We can change a little bit. We can slide stuff in. So yeah, tell us what you think we should do.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, tell us what you think we should do. And thank you so much for watching. We hope we can teach you something.
As always, happy savings.
You're picking up your entire life that you've had here for 50 years and moving to a Caribbean island. How does that make you feel?
I'm terrified. Everything I know in the last however many years is here. And now I'm just going to pick it up and go to a Caribbean island.